Welcome to the Motivational Maniac podcast. It is I, yours truly. I go by the name of Thando and Khanya. I'd like to greet this new episode. The video revolution continues to Shiva, the Almighty, who continues to look over us. We're quite thankful. Finally, I have Mr. Nkonyana and Nontolwana on the show once again. If anyone who's going to be interacting with this, I would advise you to go back on my YouTube channel, Thando and Khanya. You will find a couple of clips, YouTube shorts of this man who's been sharing his bits of wisdom. Very important for him. He's a huge avid fan and also a supporter of the show. But I respect him as a person. First of all, nothing is gonna happen without action. I just want to remind you that your excuses are only the bullshit stories you are telling yourself to prevent yourself from being great. And I don't become great without action. I had to take stock of everything that I have done up until this point. Reason why is obviously the obstacle is the way. And Khanya on offline was telling me that all it just takes is just one person watching, and then it can all change for you. And Khanya is also alliterating something my best friend, who Khanya you see in the background. The audience might not see that, but we are watching a video of myself. In the middle, we have Bongolethu Maholoana, who's my best friend, and Lubabalo Chad Msipa. I went to school with Lubabalo. We've been friends for 14 years. Ngoko and Lupongo is a friend of Lubabalo, who I met via him. But Naya, he was always telling me, this is Chad, that Thando all it takes is just one episode. Just one episode. But I love the fact that you are consistent, because when we see you post your stuff, bro, it inspires us to put our art there, to go even harder as well. I understand we are also juggling 9 to 5s, and I always tell them this offline is that, bro, this is part of what we are supposed to go through. And it reminds me when Khanya or Lubabalo that there are these different ingredients that you need so that you can become what you're supposed to be. If you cannot be able to prevail over the struggle that you are facing right now, you wouldn't know how capable and strong you are. So I'm thankful for first of all, the love that you've shown me. I'm also inspired by you as an individual. I'm watching your journey. You're a married man right now. Bro.
Last time I was in the show, I was not married. Yeah.
And we were still on the audio podcast at the time.
Yeah.
So, Khanya, I just wanted us to start on what is this? I had this in mind, man. I excuse me, maniacs.
But you started, bro. You said, I like it when you said, by the way, there are a lot of elements that come into play for us to reach where we want to be. And I think there is a lot of truth in that statement. And we forget that we are our own catalysts for change, for our futures, and for our goals, visions. And I think it begins firstly with understanding who you are, and so that you can understand the environment around you, because many people are more focused on what's around them, right? And many of times our locus of control when it comes to the environment around us, it's very limited. We can hardly control what happens in our communities, in our surroundings. Yes, we can influence it, but not really control it. But what is in our internal locus of control is what is completely within our grasp. So, and one of that is knowing yourself. And when you know yourself, you know what to change, you know what to improve, you know what to let go of, you know what to learn, and you know what to unlearn as well.
Very beautiful. This unlearning and learning, getting back to basics.
Yep.
Because I think, let me not say I think, I struggled a lot in terms of unlearning because I like to reflect on, and as if this was Einstein who says that doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, we have to get used to not doing things the same way
Yeah.
for us to try to make sure that we are having different approaches, especially towards our work. And my biggest struggle has been emotional intelligence.
Okay. It's fair to say that everyone has their own, weaknesses and vices and not so strong points. I have mine, you have yours, and the cycle of doing the same thing over and over again speaks to the comfort zone, right? And until you come to the end of that comfort zone, you'll never reach, I've learned this week, where the magic happens. Magic happens outside your comfort zone, right? Outside that routine that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel, satisfied somehow. A lot of us want change, but are not willing to change for change. I'll say it again.
That's real. That's a TikTok.
Uh,
That's a TikTok.
a lot of us want change, but are not willing to change for change. Coming out of our comfort zone and learning to also unlearn some of the habits, some of the and you find out that it's the small stuff that makes it major, because you treat it as if it doesn't matter, whereas it matters the kind of thoughts that you have. Many people don't take note and their way of thinking, and they think that it's normal to have constantly negativity in them. Remember, now it's not around you, meaning coming from people, the toxicity outside. Once you start to be negative inside, you know that the toxins are inside, and now it becomes harder for you to deal with, because now you're poisoned not by someone else
But by
but by yourself, which is where a lot of people starts to be emotionally unstable, and then it translates to bad decision making. It translates to giving up in life, giving up in dreams, because they lack the cure, and the cure is within themselves. You change your mind, you change your life, right? So when we learn to do that, we immediately um increase our emotional intelligence, right? And the better you are in dealing with your emotion, the stronger you are. I believe Robert Greene highlights that in the 48 laws of power, right? Now, in my philosophy, I spoke about it last time. It's putting your head above your heart, and you can't go around making emotional decisions, right? So for you to have that kind of way of thinking, it takes time, it takes a lot of practice, and it takes you being committed to you in order for you to start to be emotionally intelligent. You want to raise your IQ, you need to read books, you need to watch, content that will build an IQ, and you'll see yourself starting to get smarter. You'll be able to relate with people in certain topics or subject, math, science, and so on and so forth. But how do you build your emotional IQ? It's when you start to first understand yourself. But a lot of people are afraid of sitting with themselves, because the harsh truths start to come out about who you are. We normally run away from ourselves. That's why we don't want to spend time isolated at home. We become desperate when we don't have internet, TV, electricity. Why? Because we're afraid of being alone with our thoughts, being alone with Thando, the real Thando. You rather be distracted by your cell phone, by your TV, because you fear being alone. But that confrontation between you against yourself, or with yourself, I should say, is the start of building enough emotional intelligence to balance your life throughout.
You put that in a very beautiful way, Khanya. You're taking me back, Ngogo, before I even started what I'm doing currently right now, where I talk about decluttering the circle. But, I love Dragon Ball Z, and I remember I went into the hyperbolic chamber.
That's a good.
Yes, for me, the catalyst to, like, the turning point was a breakup in which I had with someone I was in a relationship with. And that propelled me in a sense where, like back what you are saying, we are scared to sit with our own thoughts.
Yeah.
Because now, in me getting into the hyperbolic chamber, it's time for me to sit and listen to these thoughts. It's not time for me to go and respond. Because right now, it kept on telling me, yo, bro, you were too invested in this person and not invested in yourself. You centered everything around this person. You forgot you had dreams. Remember, you said you were going to start a podcast 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You found this girl, and now what's going on? Where's the podcast?
Everything changed.
Yeah, you think you're going to need equipment. You think you're going to need all of these things up until this person left me. But then, in her leaving me, now it was opportunity to go and face with time.
Yeah.
And the thoughts that I've been running away from 3 years ago, like, okay, you've been telling people you're going to start this podcast. And on top of that, you have a circle that don't support that. What is podcast? No, you're mad. What are you on? Why are you on YouTube all the time? You're always on the internet trying to learn, download, do all these kind of stuff. Why don't you go to school? Why don't you get a job? And I'm like, yo, first things first, I need to get rid of these voices.
Yeah.
So I can hear my own voice in my own head. Because the moment I start talking about, hey, how we're going to get out of this situation that we are in, and next thing now, I'm having a pushback, I'm going to start to have problems. I love these people, but in me observing who was I around, now I could be able to go and face myself as well to say, Thando, you are not where you want to be. You've been talking about starting, but it's time for you to be about it. Start this thing. Go on YouTube, go and search how to start a podcast with a phone. Apps are going to come out. Probably for everything that we are looking for, there's a video on YouTube that someone has made.
True.
So that was the responsibility that I had on me. It was no one else's. Because now I'm going to listen to people saying, no, man, this thing won't work out. And you find that people will help you more in giving up than you start.
Yeah.
You won't have an audience when nobody's listening to you. Nobody's going to say, oh, bro, I saw your video and all of that, because they don't believe in it. So I had to translate that and put it on me to say, bruh, you need to make this a reality.
Yeah.
You have no one right now. And after that, a few months ago, I lost my mom. It was one of the hardest period for me.
So you got dumped. Sorry to put it that way.
Yes, I got that.
And you were still dealing with that, and then shortly you lost your mom.
2019 was a make or break year. So I have this breakup. I break up with this person I was with in April, December. I lose my mother. It was a very provoking process. You're like, who do you turn to? Like, what did happen? But funny enough, in Khanya, 3 months before my mom passed on, I had this moment with Sherina at the back of our Wendy. And my mom couldn't even walk in that bed. But a part of me was like, bro, this is the last time you're seeing her. And it was this time where I started to take mindfulness seriously. I started to meditate and get like, it's like this turn of me like, okay, the world is not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to create my own world. Because obviously you look crazy when you're doing stuff for the first time. I'm like, no, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to my thoughts. I'm learning about sadhanas. I'm listening to stoic videos. I'm downloading these videos. Like I'm breathing again. You see, it became funny for me, but within that time, I had this conversation. She was cooking like us, but so I had to carry her around. and I had this PC, the computer. I mean, luckily, and we were watching Money Heist at that time. But then while Money Heist was playing, she starts giving me this information. I've been longing for this information. You know, my child, I didn't want to marry your father. I only married your father because of wanting to secure you guys in terms of having a family. He was very abusive, emotionally, physically, and all those kind of things. But one thing I did was I made a sacrifice for you. I didn't even have money for you to go to Rosemead Central Primary. But I was like, Mnana, my firstborn yam, uzopuma elita. I was taking out elita at grade 1.
Yeah.
Next thing, hey, you young. Next thing, we are travelisha, you go into Omakena where you don't know what's going on. And she made me aware of the sacrifices that she made. So yeah, hyperbolic chamber. Now it's time for me to face my thoughts. Tayo, you are lucky. You are not as good as you think you are. You need to work on yourself, bro. Know yourself. And then COVID came. COVID just, sure. Well, what do I always say on the show about COVID? It was a mental shift. Everyone is busy drowning themselves in alcohol. Everyone is in denial of, yo, this is the new normal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is what I need exactly. Then that is the time where you just see me on every corner that has Wi-Fi. I'm sitting there, I'm on YouTube, downloading tutorials, how to start this podcast. Then boom, December 1st, we launch our first episode. I used to wake up every morning, and from February up until September, almost 3 times a week, I would do diary entries. What am I thinking? What would I like my podcast to be about? So I decided, no, how about I talk about my journey throughout high school? Okay, losing my grandfather, changing my inner circle, failing grade 10, restarting again, stop being a ladies' man, stop bullshitting, most important, because as much as I got into trouble, Khanya, this thing of wanting to be in school never left me. Then I turned to like, your home situation, bro.
Yeah.
Stop being ashamed of it. Start accepting it for what it is. You're from a poor home. Your mother abuses alcohol. She has depression. Your aunts are also in the same cycle. So now, once I started being in acknowledgement of all those things, I just poured into this diary every single day. And then I find this tutorial that shows me how to download this app called Anchor, which is currently Spotify for creators. Spotify bought later. So Anchor is this app that's free. You can upload your content there in voice. Obviously, at the time was let me start with the voice. You record. There were still those were edit and all those kind of things. So I just took playlist every single day. All I need to get is that R6. I buy that day voucher. I'm sitting there every 3 hours. I'm getting my movies. I'm getting my tutorials. I go back. I have a 1-2 hour interval. I come back again. I'm like this crazy person.
Would you say? And I'm sorry to ask you this question because I know it's his show, but I feel like people also would like to hear more about your story, and having someone ask you those deep questions, because what I like about this podcast, as I told you before, it's real, it's raw, and the fact that it's unscripted makes it much more beautiful, because you can't make stuff up. Whereas when you script something, you already know, okay, we're going to move from this point to this point. You talk about your time whereby you had this paradigm shift after COVID happened, and you started now to deal with yourself. How was that process? How did it affect the relationships around you, with your friends, with the places you used to go, and the way you used to be before that?
Sure, there was a lot of objection. I even had to object to myself, like,
because you start realizing, you know, I had to stop being a lazy man, a ladies man. I like it.
yo, bro. I'm gonna go into detail with that, man. I want you to watch Frasier episodes because I'm gonna have a guest part of that where I'm gonna go deeper into that, and it's me being very transparent to the. I didn't get to be the person I am today without fooling around, doing all those kind of things, because for me, I needed a reality check. So in doing all those things, I learned that first of all, lying to other people is lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You can't be having 10 girlfriends at one time. And you think what is that? In as a teenager, you have the validation of other men, but then when you're alone, you don't feel like I am the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might give you your Thando, you have these different kind of chicks. So going back on the question, Yako, about how was it for me to deal with the fact that how does this affect my friends?
Yeah. How did it affect you? Your circles, basically. Yeah, you mentioning about decluttering. When did you like? Yeah, no,
Okay.
I need to declutter now.
Yeah. So it was not just a one moment thing. It was a matter of in me sitting around with myself. First of all, there were things that I deemed were unacceptable. First of all, you don't owe anybody anything. That's the first thing I saw. And that's one of the hardest things to do because I let a lot of things slide. I had friends because I was good at certain things. They were around me. But once I started to question that, once I started to put them on that kind of pedestal to say, bro, if I take this away, what does it mean for Rwena? Do we still have the same thing? Because now
It's deep.
I talk about starting stuff. Like I talk about creation. I don't talk about settling. I'm like, guys, I'm going to start this thing. Who's going to help me? People, it was even hard for them to because obviously my conversations were boring because now, oh, Thando is going to be lecturing us. Oh, Thando is going to be doing this. And I knew I had this thing in me. But then I also had to take stock of, bro, like, what am I becoming because of this person? So now you sit there and there are moments where that come into your head. Yeah, Azubani. Then man, got yes. It's true because
Because I know you, of course, as Gokula, because we're from the same neighborhood. But you as there's a 21 by 21 up high, 21 up high, 10 up as a 50, 80, it's like it's different parts, but of the same place. And they would meet up, come Kasiglo, or something, or Kasiglo Terra, and I would hear, I mean, when you talk the way you carried yourself, but no, man. Um, First of all, I always felt out of place with my friends. Why? Because I I found out that if I'm not improving and growing with the people that I have around me. Of course, at that time, I didn't used to phrase it like that, but I found out, no, man, it's either these people are helping me to become better or I'm stagnant and the same kind of person, which is worse than being a failure. Because when you fail at something, at least you know that you failed at something, you went down. Now you need to step up. Whereas when you are stale at a constant that there's no improvement, there's no going forward, no going backwards, you don't feel the need to really push yourself, right? Whereas, like, I believe when you failed grade 10, you were like, I need to do better. But if had you not failed that grade 10 and you passed it mediocre, you're going to be like, no, it's cool.
I'm kidding.
Do you understand? So I always felt out of place, but uh, crazy thing is, I always felt you were out of place as well amongst the guys at Kulu and Gwetu because he was this guy. This guy is smart. This guy, uyambona ngendlela athetha ngayo uba ibhadlile le. But sifunani yaba, like, I mean, I'm not talking bad. These my friends, like grew up with, right? You love them to death, all of them. I love them very much. That there comes a time really whereby you have to question your circle, right? The level of your effectiveness is determined by those who are around you, right? I'm not saying now you won't reach your dream. Yes, you will, but how efficient and how effective did those who are around you make you achieve that dream? You talk about your podcast, and every time you talk about it, it felt like a boring subject. It felt like, no man, you just a dream. Understand why? Because those people weren't cut out to be catalyst for your change, right? They were not cut out to be people who are going to say, you want to start something, listen, now you're a trailblazer and we're going to help you do it. And it speaks to the kind of uh, communities we come from, of people who sometimes subconsciously who believe that they are as good as the place that they are born. How many people do you know when in Ngimuni who say, hey, I want to start a podcast? None. But how many people you know tomorrow is Friday? They're gonna go to the Lika mall or anywhere, and then they're just gonna drown themselves in all of that. It's a lot. So sometimes it's a matter of understanding and having empathy for those people because they are not as enlightened as you. Because now you've actually had a conversation with yourselves, not them. They're still running away from themselves. You've come to terms with, but listen, I have to stop avoiding. I come from this situation, and that's it. I have to work to change it. They haven't, because they believe that they are what they are because they are supposed to be like that, and hence it's very important in whom you keep in your circle.
Of course, Khanya. And when I go back on this, the conversation that broke everything, because you know what, Khanya, in within that time, I had my circle of friends. It's people I grew up with. You know this person almost your entire life, 14, 15 years, out here, and all those kind of things. Then I started to have them turn up at my place at times which were not comfortable. I'm busy kissing my girlfriend there. He walks in like it's no one's business. And then he comes back later when my girlfriend is no longer there. Yo, bro, I saw how you were kissing your girl and so on. I'm like, bruh, like I'm with my girlfriend. Why would you still come in? You see, there were lots of instances and experiences that I had with them where I felt like you are not respecting my privacy, like invasion of privacy. Like I can't breathe. Because obviously when I come to Thando is going to have the Xbox, Thando is going to have the internet, we're going to watch movies, it's going to be nice and so on.
Easy access.
You see? So what I do now is I start taking that away. But then we ultimately call the guys out. We have a normal boys moment. I was still smoking at that time. We smoke weed, we nice and high, and then it's my time now. Like all 8 of them, he's sitting in front of me. I switch off the Xbox, switch off the TV. I'm like, guys, please understand. I'm tired of what you guys are doing. I'm not calling anyone individually out, but I'm just saying you guys are draining me now.
Yeah.
I have these ambitions, I have these dreams, I want to make it a reality, and I don't like people that are in my space and who call themselves my friends who belittle me because you hear me reading a book out loud. Those are things that I have problems now. So I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm better, guys, but this is my space, and I feel like you don't respect this. So in you guys doing that, can you please like not come to my place anymore?
I'm sure that was very awkward.
It was shocking for them. It was like I bought stuff for them to eat, and then it was in they're like, oh, it's a normal time he's gonna do that. That is when I saw by him. See, You need to stand up for yourself.
yourself.
You need to stand up for the values that you're seeking. Because remember, your level of belief depends on when and also the distance that you're going to go to believe.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm the only one who's seeing this. Yes, there were some of them who took it personal. Oh, Thanda kafuna isikhali kuwe and it was injalo. But Songezo was the only person who came to me besides Amachita Wati. Thanda, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yabo? It wasn't personally directed at Mna,
Yeah.
it was injalo, but I respect you for that.
Yeah. Some people told me that sometimes you have to be rude in order to protect who you are and keep yourself sane. A lot of times we're surrounded by friends who love themselves, and there's nothing more beautiful, firstly, than someone who loves themselves, right? But it becomes ugly when the person who loves themselves did not teach himself to love others, and that's where you find that kind of conversation made a lot of them to resent you. Maybe some would not say it out loud, but
They still do.
you see,
They still envy me.
People love themselves, and I think it was Rabbi Trotsky who said in a story about a boy who loved fish, who asked the boy, why did you kill that fish? And then he said, no, it's because I love fish. So that's why you killed the fish and then you boiled it and you ate it. He said, yeah, it's because you I love fish. He said, no, you don't love fish. You love yourself. That's why you took the fish out of the water, you killed it, you ate it. Not because you love it, but because you love yourself. And so many of our friendships are fish kind of love friendships of people who love themselves, who act like they love us. No, they love you because you had what you are offering them, the fish. That's why they
Take away the fish.
take away the fish and the love is gone. You understand? And as guys who grow up Ekazi, we are unfortunately not taught about these things, and a few of us understand that this is also part of acquiring your emotional intelligence, right? Learning to love others as much as you love yourself, meaning that you treat others as you want to be treated, right? Sometimes I might not agree with you. Sometimes I might not share a common opinion with you or a belief. We look at how different we are. You're Real Madrid, I'm Barcelona, you Pirates, I'm cheap. We couldn't be different. It's crazy, but I respect you. Why? Because I know that I want you to treat me as, important. I want you to treat me as you treat yourself, because now you know about Thando, and now Utando would not want to be treated this way. So I'm not going to treat others this way, because I would not feel right if I'm treated this way. For an example, when it comes to relationships that we have, now we're talking the romantic relationships, right? We enter in relationships because we want to be loved and from the time. But the real reason we should enter a relationship is because we love ourselves so much that we want to love someone else as well. In that way, you're not only taking from the relationship, but you're also giving. That's why a lot of relationships don't work, because you find out one party is just siphoning the love out of the other and is not giving anything back. Love is a love of giving. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. Jesus Christ said, no, not Jesus Christ. I think it's in the book of John where it says, for God so loved the world that he gave. And then it continues and says it's only son. So love for me, it's a love of giving. Um, I'm married to Stephanie, and I know that the most important thing I need to do, or I need to have in mind in my marriage, is not only just receiving. I must give, and I must love to give, because when you love yourself, you are like a fountain, right? And no fountain complains when water is taken from it, because it continuously provides water. Now, it's a different story for people who are not fountains, people who only love themselves. You love yourself, you don't love others, or you haven't learned to love others, you become selfish, whether you're conscious of it or not. You become self-serving because you only love this person, and then it starts to create a rift between your relationships, both professionally, romantically, and also in your family as well.
That was hard for me, but choosing yourself is something you have to do every day,
Every day,
every single day.
every day.
It might not make sense, and my friend told me, you know, this journey that you have chosen, Thando, it's gonna get lonely, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be alone, bro. But you know what? You have to deal with that loneliness. It's rather that you figure you out than being in constant drift of trying to like prove yourself. Who are you trying to prove yourself to?
You, your friend has a point in some extent when he says it's gonna get lonely, but you're never truly alone when you love your own company.
Mm.
I love my own company. I'm fine with being alone with myself, because I enjoy being with the person that I am, right? That's where I said a lot of us want distractions, because we are afraid of being with ourselves. And sometimes it's inevitable, because this is not spoken a lot about, but there comes a time when you're in bed at night and your phone gets boring, the series you're watching gets boring, and you go on YouTube, it's boring, your TikTok, and you're just there with yourself, and a flood of thoughts come, and a lot of people cry, a lot of people start to suffer with insomnia, because now their thoughts are like, yeah, finally we are here, and you are trying to avoid all of these things, and now your thoughts come and attack you, and now you start to find people have anxiety. It's self-sabotage. It's terrible, and it has a lot to do with avoiding being with you. It has a lot of to do with avoiding to come to terms of who you are and who you want to be, and what you must do in order to transition from the one to the other. I might not be making sense, but yeah.
You're making a lot of sense, man, Khanya. Yeah, you're taking me back right now. You're really taking me back, because at the time I couldn't articulate it. I didn't understand that the decision I was making at that time were going to have a ripple effect. It's going to affect me. It's going to affect those people around me as well. Even though I was in the same environment, but it's not me convincing myself, but I knew that for the next level to where I need to go, I can't have these people around me. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
But I need to go and build myself my own table. If I'm going to be the only one sitting at that table, Kenya, you know, that made me actually be grateful for the relationship I created with Lubabalo Chatham Sipa, because in high school, I used to make a mockery of him. Before we even became friends, I used to make fun of him because I was the latest, man. You think you're cool. You're the bully, but like, you up in your own cloud, like you can't get down there. And he always was like, dude, what did I do to you? I never did anything cool up until that failure came. And who was the first person to say, come, bro? And he gave me a hug.
Yeah. So the person that you used to speak down, belittle, make fun of was actually the one who was there.
Yeah.
At your darkest moment.
That was my, he was my brother. You know, Khanya in high school, I see, it gives me like, and I just want to cry when I talk about this. He came to me one afternoon and he said, bro, Masambi, like Masambi, Ndon. Then we went to a secret spot by Eskele. He takes out his lunchbox and he said, this is what mom cooked for us.
Yeah.
Yes, you a group of friends, we were like 11, 10 guys, yabo, and this is what mom made for us. Masike, bruh. And then this weekend, he says, bruh, this is where Cavendish, ne? This is what Cavendish, man. I don't want to go there.
Oh, you in Weinberg?
Yeah,
we're at the same side. Yeah.
So he says, go Masia, man, and it clicks. Takes me to Clicks. And he says, go and take some deodorant. I nearly fell apart. I'm like, I branded. No, I got this cash from mom. Yeah, well, I told my mom about you. Ambo tatiro on hand. Sure, that, to me, that is when it just hit, bro.
Yeah.
By you see, I had been with so many people at the time. And now that is something that also clicked in me starting. Remember, you're in adulthood, high school,
Yeah.
but Lubabalo, instead of him judging me, there were guys who were saying, bro, your underarm smell. What's going on? You don't wash. What's going on? You are afraid of telling them my entry.
Yeah.
Accoun needs, bro.
Yeah.
My only form of eating is this feeding scheme. I was embarrassed at first, Khanya, but I was like, bro, the stomach don't care what you eat, bro. And I can't be ashamed of my own stomach. That is when the people were providing uguja at school.
At school, yeah.
Started calling me after school. Yeah, but let my peers leave because you know how terrible teenagers can be.
Yeah.
He said, Mamela, here's mealy meals.
They're my
teachers, but Tibani said like 10 food. Thando, we made me and say, no, we want you to do this afternoon class. Then it was in Jalo. Then my friends would leave. Amachitanshi. Next thing they said, no, Thando, we don't want to feel like sequence a charity case in Jalo, but we noticed if we can latest what's going on in Jalo, set them down. The day Miss Kunzima Kaban and Fumaneleo Kotuk. I just tell myself I'm gonna eat school but I wanna be here. That's the most important. I wanna finish school. And all of these times, Lubabad is hearing these dudes mocking me and all those things, but he's telling his mom on the other side about Endo. And then when he went and bought me that deodorant, that is when it started to click, man. I'm like, bruh, and then Zendo only for you to do me all this stuff. I treated you so bad, bruh. Yeah, bon. And even Langog, I'm sorry for Lenundians there. I know I can't go back and change the time, but it wasn't my intention because I was a different person. And he said, bro, I know what a good and smart guy you are, bruh. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is to show you how much I love you and how much I want to help you in this new person that you decided to be because you're making different decisions.
Yeah.
You were the ladies' man, obviously. You're punking school. Then by my classmates. But when you're in denial, you don't see all of those gestures of love when people are telling you, no, don't punk school, don't go and smoke. So wins and then up until you get caught and now there are repercussions. And the outcome was the failure. But in episode 8, season 8, episode 1, I said this to my cousin Okal. You know, it was my fault that I was bunking. can't blame that on my friends. I allowed myself to be influenced the same way when I was told I was repeating grade 10. I'll hold my head up high and I was like, Thando, you were catching on shit. Now this is the outcome of you catching on shit. Take responsibility. It's your mess. Take responsibility for that mess. So when he does all of these things, I'm like, bro, it clicked. It actually clicked. Like, if these people can see something in me, it means I'm gonna start paying attention to this. Then I started to shut everything out. Next thing, I'm around the Congolese, the Zambians, I'm around the Coloureds. Like, when I'm there, people will come from a distance. They're like, Kuthando, Loana, makwenza kantoni? Because I would grab everyone's attention, not because I was talking smack, but because of the aura.
Yeah.
Now, what happens at home no longer becomes, oh, I have to go back to that home. I'm like, okay, this is my trial. This is my tribulation. This is my strength.
Yeah.
Now you start to take ownership. Obviously, things become better. And even in doing that, even with our friends, just fast forward it towards them, me having that conversation with them, I knew it was not going to be easy. It wasn't easy on me because there were days like, okay, you no longer can be around them now. You're no longer expecting Ubani to come. Now, all of a sudden, you become at peace.
Yeah.
Now you have to face you. Now you're like, okay, what happens now?
Yeah.
Now you need to develop the habits. Now you need to put in the routines. Yeah, but it gives you time for you to make it work. At first, you're like, no, I just land. I remember my first time trying to meditate. And after 5 minutes, I immediately got up. I'm like, no, I can't do this. But the next day, when that time came, I was like, you're gonna sit here. You really have to negotiate with yourself. Go.
Yeah.
Go. Even when I woke up this morning, yes, I'm off. And I had this stomach ache that woke me up. And I was like, yo. And I'm like, no, I can't disappoint you. And this stomach ache is not going to enable me to make an excuse to say, Thando, you won't work out. Thando, you won't meditate. You won't be doing marketing for your episode. You won't do all those things. And washing. But while the process season that though is but this was but at the back of my mind I'm like, we are talk. That's
That's how you. It's always an internal battle between your emotions and your intelligence. Imagine if you went around basing your life on emotional decisions. Every time you don't feel like you just say, I don't feel like it. You know you have to do what you need to do, but because you're this emotional person, you're this emotional person, you feel instead of thinking. You base your life on how you feel. Imagine every day you wake up feeling different. The days whereby I wake up feeling so good, looking forward to the day, and carpe diem, seize the day. And then the days you just wake up and you're not even sure that you're awake yet because you're like, I'm tired, I'm feeling down, I'm not feeling happy. But you know that you need to also seize that day because time waits for no man. Your emotions are a very integral part of you. You need them to feel. But stop using your emotions to think. They're not meant for that. You meant to feel with them. But your brain is meant to think for you. A lot of us are getting it wrong because we allow our hearts to do the thinking, our emotions to do the thinking. And I'm so proud of you that you were able to see the way you are and change, because at the end of the day, it first started with the accountability, but it's your fault that you failed. You didn't pass the buck to the situation, to what you have, what you don't have. You became accountable. This week at work, I learned about I am my choices. This is one of the topics we covered. I am my choices. So with that, it demands accountability, which a lot of us lack. No, this happened because my mom isn't treating me right. This happened because I don't know my father. This happened because of Komalika. This happened because Nyatalato. You are your choices. And whatever your choices translate to become, you are accountable for it. Whether good, bad, whether ugly or pretty, you are your choices.
We're all gonna be dealt cards, man, when Khanya.
Yep.
In this lifetime, we're all gonna be dealt cards. But just all in the theory, I'm with myself and I'm like, I'd rather be here doing this than anywhere else.
Nice.
I'd rather be the crazy dude. I'm like, someone was listening to me at work yesterday and they were like, Thando, what's going on with you today? Did you wake up on the right side of life? I'm like, actions over captions.
Actions over?
Captions.
Actions over captions.
We're in the social media era and we do things so that we can capture moments, not because those things that we do get us a step closer. I think about the compound effect. I don't know when I last read that book, but I'm going to revisit it again. The daily actions that you put in, the small stuff. They say small things become big things, and everything you do compounds. So I'm thinking, when I'm looking at the app that I'm working out with, when I look at that, it shows me that for this amount of time you worked out. For last year, when I shared it on my social media, out of the 366 days in that leap year, I worked out for 316 days. Ooh. I was like, Johnny, you think you're lacking sometimes because you go 2-3 days, but in my mind I always say you can't go a week off. You are gonna lack the daily discipline, because remember, ezazinto help you to function well in the world. I get this irritation kind of if I don't meditate, I get so guilty that I cheated myself. But then I can't guilt trip myself in London, because now I have to okay, Gengoms. And it goes back to Lenlitetai, we must stop using the heart to think. That the heart is there to feel. It's the brain that thinks. It's your intellect that should take precedence in that. As habits, they need to be done, whether I don't feel like it. I did those push-ups, they were ripping me apart. But I was like, I'm going to finish this, even if it's 58 workouts. I'm just going to take 48 hours. And now I'm telling my colleague, Paispan, what time to wake up? I'm saying I wake up at least 2 to 3 hours before I get on the bus at 8:30. My shift starts at 10:30. Wow. And Buza, why are you waking up at 6, 5:30? Because I need to start the day right. I need to listen to that affirmation. I need to meditate. And then while I'm meditating, I need to listen to myself. Either go on YouTube or Spotify and I listen to an old episode. Me pick an episode. Okay, this is Kumboza. Is this me? There are times I'm like, damn, you dropping knowledge. Yeah. It's a means of grounding myself. This Kumboza. Remember, you had to start. No one would see how hard was it for when every day when you up, you didn't have a job. And Jimin Brad today. I'm looking at the street, I'm like, it's quiet. I'm like, damn, how do people survive, bro? How do people get so comfortable? But then it goes back to what you said. You are your choices.
Yep.
You are your choices. Like, where you are, you made a choice to do that. You can think otherwise, and everyone's like, yo, you're a dreamer. I like this thing when I work out. I'm like, let's go. No pain, no gain. How are we going to get pain without the gain? Come on, you're not where you want to be. Come on.
I mean, I like your charisma. I like charisma. I like your way of doing things. it's a new year. I think we're halfway to January, and a lot of resolutions that were made are broken. A lot of resolutions that are made are forgotten, and a lot of people lost themselves already in this year. And I hope whoever's listening or watching us, you're not the one. If you have lost yourself, find yourself again. You're not far. All it takes is honesty and understanding that you need to be accountable for the choices that you make on everyday life. It's painful to see a lot of potential going down the drain. It's painful to see and acknowledge that the richest place in the world is the graveyard.
Mm.
And it's very hard to swallow to see our streets, our families amounting to nothing, whereas they were supposed to amount to great things in life. It's up to us to take it, and it's up to us to move forward for ourselves, for our families, and for our dreams and our hopes.
Thank you so much, Khanya, for that. Guys, just as a closing statement, what I can take away from this is that accountability matters, man. Wherever you are, like, it's easy for you to make excuses, and I like to talk about this. It's either you make money or you make excuses. You can't make
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to use my journey, and also, like I said, I just like to have people on the show that don't take for granted what life has to bring. I don't want to take for granted these humble beginnings as well, because you look at the things that you are out of your control. Like the external world, you will never ever ever have grip on it, but the internal one, that's most important. People can be swearing at you, they can be calling you all kind of names, but you still keep that. And I go back to one thing I heard from Sadhguru saying, how are you working with all these terrible people? And Sadhguru said, I only have control over myself.
Mm.
That's their choice. If they choose to be terrible, if they choose to be miserable, if they choose to do all those kind of things, that's on them. Me, I decide to be this way. And I want you to make sure every single day you wake up, you choose you. I told a colleague of mine, you are a part of history. Today is a day you'll never ever have in your life. Can you be able to seize it? Can you, as unhappy as you are on the job, think about someone out there wants the life that you have. Someone out there wants the opportunity you have. And at one point, I remember telling my group of friends that have been on the show, shout out to Luko Timamputa, Sungula Setityane, and Buhle Klokhana. And I told them, guys, the moment I get that opportunity, I'm not going to look back. You're going to see less of me, but trust me, I'm getting what's mine. It's time to get what's yours. You're not going to have an audience when you're grinding out, when you have to do the daily discipline, because no one sees what you do behind the curtain. They can only see what you do on stage. But make sure whoever is behind that curtain is assisting you. The friends and the circle that you are in, they must help you succeed. I'm not saying they owe you something. They don't. Nobody owes you anything. But life is too short to have miserable people around, because misery loves company. If you see you are the only one who wants it as badly as you want to breathe, like Eric Thomas says, then you will succeed. Obsess about what you want. And this is to Luko Timamputa, who says that. He said, Tati, we forget so much to obsess about what we love. I see your content, you're like, yo, Tati is obsessed about this. He's going hard. And even Upongo yesterday, he saw that live, that Instagram reel. I went live on Instagram and he said, hey, I see you going hard, man. I told him, bro, the future version of me depends on me now, bro. Like, I can't cheat that person, bro. You see, I have him in mind, but then it's a lead up. So every action has a lead up, and I'm like, Bongo, this year I'm choosing myself. You send me this Instagram reel to be like, bro, yeah, she broke up with you, but so what? So what, bro? You gotta get this money. You gotta make this dream a reality.
Sorry to jump in. She broke up with you. She didn't break you.
Oh, ah, a lot of things. A lot of things are wait. Yeah, man. A lot of things came to break me, but you know what, Khanya? They fixed my vision.
Nice.
Thank you to who left me. Thank you. Because you fixed my vision. I'm on a pathway of greatness, man.
Yes, you are.
I'm on a pathway of greatness, and recognize. But thank you to everyone who's tuned into this episode. Motivational Maniac. Wow. The concrete jungle journey continues, man. Thank you to Khanya Nontolwana for giving me an opportunity to come on his space. Takes a lot, man. And Khanya, I just want to say I'm proud of the life that you're leading, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
I'm proud and I'm inspired, bro, and I'm paying attention. And it's not even a matter of duplication. I'm like, how can I apply it into what I want for myself? Because to me, it excites me seeing a person get what they want. Take it back to this picture I saw of you getting your coaching badges. I'm like, damn, man. Damn, me, bro. I'm getting it out there, but I'm proud of you, Khanya, and thank you once again. I don't want to stretch this even longer than it already is, man. I appreciate you. And to everyone that has tuned it up until this far, thank you so much. I know some people are not even reacting, Khanya. And someone who I went to high school with, I was going to on a random day. I was so down, and I see the transport in, and next thing greeting me, and he says, yo, bro, continue with that podcast, bro. You might not be reacting, but we're watching. So just because you're not getting any reaction, don't mean they don't see it.
Yeah.
Keep on going, Thando. Greatness in within. What doesn't grow me doesn't own me. Motivational Maniac signing out.
Cheers.